Section 2.2, the title is called the graph of a function. Okay, so what we're going to be studying is going to be functions. I'm going to give you a graph or an equation, and then we're going to learn all information about it. Okay, here we go. Example 1, obtaining information from a given graph or from a graph. So here's the graph that I gave you. Question number 1, is that graph a function? Is that graph a function? Yeah. When you are given a graph, check to see if it passes a vertical line test. Okay, so what that means is that if I were to draw any vertical line, does it cross over more than once? No, so that's a function. Okay, so when you are given a graph, it's easier to see if it's a function or not. Is that function continuous? What does it mean, by the way, to be continuous? What does it mean to be continuous? Take a wild guess. Vincent, take a wild guess. What does it mean to be continuous? It doesn't have to, but that's not incorrect. Dahlia? It doesn't have to stop, and it doesn't have to go on forever. All the points are connected. Okay, you're right. What doesn't? Okay, so another word is that, can you start from one end and go all the way to the other end without lifting up your pen or pencil? That's what it means to be continuous. So earlier, number 21, Kyle gave me the dots. Are those their function? But is that function earlier from 21 continuous? No, because if you go from one dot to the next, don't you have to lift your pencil? Yes, so this one is continuous, okay? Part A, which we kind of did already, but this one is in the format of a graph. F of 0. F of 0. Okay. Anyone raise your hand and tell me if you can get an answer. And it's okay to be wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Okay. What's F of 0? What am I looking for?
4.
4. How'd you get it? Can you tell me? Yes. I'm asking, what is y when x is 0? Okay. So this right here is x. Go to the x, and you know what x is. In this case, I'm asking x is 0, right? And what is y when x is 0? Okay, so this is 4. All right, let's go on to the next one. What is f of 3 pi over 2? Where do you go now to find the answer? Where do you go now? What am I asking in plain English? You have to explain to someone that's not in math what we're doing. What can you say? Okay. What are we really asking? What are we asking? Plain English. Ethan? Find 3 pi over 2. You're so close. Find what? Yeah, find y. Would you agree? Find y when x is? When x is? Yeah, okay. So look at the graph. There's no function for you to punch in calculator. There's nothing you can do. All you do is look at 3 pi over 2. Okay? So where's 3 pi over 2 at? It's right here, isn't it? And I even gave you a point. So when x is 3 pi over 2, y is 0. That's right. All right. Do this on your own. And then once you have an answer, compare it with your partner. I'm going to shuffle your deck of cards and I'm going to call on you. So, but you can talk to your partner before you're called upon. I have a deck of cards. Be scared. Be very scared. So try it out first. Okay. You can always be wrong as long as we learn from it. It's fine. Okay, do you guys compare your answer? You and your partner? Okay. So, here we go. Parker, what do you think the answer is? 4. Parker says 4. Negative 4. Is he right? Yes, right here. Find y when x is 3 pi. And he says negative 4. And he is correct. Notice how you don't really have to do any calculation. Okay. All right, let's go to B. Harry, can you help me read B, please? Good. What is the domain of F? Is it all real numbers? No. Okay, where does it start? Where does it start, Ethan? It starts at 0. Where does it end? Where does it end?
7 pi over 2.
7 pi over 2. Oh, I see what you're seeing. Okay, see this right here where you said 7 pi over 2 is right there in the bottom, but does it end at 7 pi over 2?
I thought that was
Oh, yeah. Can you see this is where it ends? What is that value?
4 pi.
4 pi, you're right. So the domain is in between inclusive or non-inclusive? Inclusive. So we're going to include 0. We will also include 4 pi. Now, you're going to eventually have to know interval notation. What is this in interval notation? What symbol are we using? Parentheses or bracket? Bracket, okay? Bracket 0 all the way to 4 pi. Eventually, you're only going to be using interval notation, so let's practice both, okay? C, what is the range of F? I want you to answer this question and then check with your friend, and I'll use your deck of cards to pull up. So you and your partner, please talk. Find it first and then compare. Okay. And if you can, write in interval notation. You can still write old school, okay? But if you're writing old school, I would like for you to write in interval notation as well. So do both. All right, you're not talking anymore, meaning that you're done, right? Here we go. Aiden. Where's Aiden? Thank you. Kyle, can you give me the answer what the range is?
Y is more than 4 equal to negative 4, less than or equal to 4.
Okay, so y is, I'm sorry, so y is greater than or equal to what?
Negative 4.
Negative 4, good answer. And then at the same time?
Less than or equal to 4.
Perfect. Okay, interval notation. Make sure the smaller number goes first, okay, class? So make sure it goes from negative 4 to 4, just like that. Very good. By the way, if someone write this as an answer, will that work? No. Does it make sense? No, right? Y is greater than negative 4, but greater than 4, so that make sure the inequality symbol goes the same way. Okay. Perfect. That was C. D, list the intercepts. Okay, I want you and your partner to list all of the intercepts. When it says intercept, you are looking for all of them. Okay. Once you have an answer, compare it with your friend, and then we will list the intercepts.
Those are not intercepts. You're right. I want to. Okay, well, I still got the wrong one, so. There's so many. There is.
Once you have listed out, compare your friend. Make sure you have the same number and the same values. Okay. Don't be shy. I know it's early. Logan B, how many intercepts do we have? How many? 4? Is Logan right? No, Logan B is not right. Logan D, how many intercepts do we have? 5. Is Logan D right? Yeah? Did you miss a Y intercept?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it. All right, Logan B, give me all 5. Here we go. 0, 4, beautiful. Pi over 2, 0, great. 3 pi over 2, 0, beautiful. 5 pi over 2, 0, and one more. Beautiful, okay. How would you know which one's x-intercept and which one's y-intercept? What do you look at? X-intercept is when y is 0, and y-intercept is when x is 0. Very good. Okay, that was D. E. Now, E, F, and G might be new for us, so please do ask if you don't understand. E says, how often does the line y equals 2 intersect the graph? Okay. Question number 1. The line y equals 2. What does that look like? Up and down, left or right? Left and right. Very good. So I'm going to draw it out, maybe in a red pen. Here we go. I'm going to go up to y equals 2. This is what it looks like. And of course you can always draw it out. It's your own notes. Okay. So there's that line. The question says, how often does this line intersect means cross or touch, right? The graph. Is it possible to count? Yeah, Gracie? How often? How many times? 4. You guys agree with Gracie? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's all you have to do. 4 times. And this is, it seems easy, but make sure you know what a y equal looks like, okay? Now, this is another question that, by the way, am I going too fast? I want to make sure. Okay. F, for what values of x? Is f of x greater than 0? All right, so let's talk about the question. There's no numbers in there. See the question? But what am I looking for? Am I looking for y values or x values? Am I looking for y values or x values? X, because the question said, for what values of x? I'm looking for x. What's the situation with x? I'm looking for all x's? That's called the domain. I'm looking for what? Only what? When what is greater than 0? When y is greater than 0. This is really spelled out. When y is greater than 0. Okay. So that's what that question really wants us to do. So now we're going to go back to the graph. Y is greater than 0. Okay, now this is the part where you have to use interval, or I wouldn't say you have to, but interval notation is a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, so let me just, so y equals to 0. I'm going to draw this line. Can you agree that this is the line y equals to 0? Do I want above it or below it? Above it. You are correct. So I really want above it, which is here. Can you guys see that? So what x values is that? From where to where? When x is 0, what's the y value? 4. Is that greater than? Is that y value greater than 0? Yes. So can I include that x location? Good. So I'm going to start with that first x location, which is what? Which is what? 0. That first piece, how far out is the x? How far out does it go? All the way to what? Pi over 2. You're correct. Okay, but here's the part that we have to really be careful. What is y when x is pi over 2? Is 0. Is 0 greater than 0? So can I include this point in my answer? No. So what symbol do we use so that way we say that it's not inclusive? It is? Yes. Okay, see how in one question we have two different symbols in there? Okay, comma. Is that the only answer? Are there other locations of x that y is bigger than 0? For sure. Isn't it this thing right here is also bigger than 0? Yes or no? Okay, so that piece, where does it start? For that piece, where does it start? 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2. All the way to what? 5 pi over 2. Let's talk about symbol notation. Can I, at 3 pi over 2, is the y value greater than 0? No. So can I include that in my answer? No. So what symbol do we use when we don't want to include it? Parentheses for both. Okay. Are we done? Dahlia? The 2 pi, dear, because I'm going to go all the way. This whole thing is what I'm using. Okay. So I'm using from 3 pi over 2 all the way. And 2 pi is already included in that interval, right? So 2 pi is right in the middle. I'm collecting this dot, this dot, this dot, all of that, okay? Are we done? Nope. Don't we have another one from here all the way to there? So what is that? What is that? Where do we start with that last piece? 7 pi over 2 all the way to 4 pi. Now let's check out the notation. At 4 pi, is the y value greater than 0? Can I include that? Perfect. Okay. At 7 pi, is the y value greater than 0? No, so I cannot include that. So that's really, so this is all notation. Okay, it's really understanding the graph. There's no, we don't have to compute anything. All right, here we go. G. I'm going to pause a little bit just in case you have questions. Whoa, sleeping. Kyle, hit the keyboard for me. Thanks, bud. All right, G. For what values of, oh my, when x is in between 0 inclusive all the way to 4 pi inclusive, it's f of x equals to -4. All right, so what am I looking for? X or Y? I'm looking for X. Look at this question. For what values of X is in between 0 and 4 pi? When what? When Y is -4, right? All right, let's check out when Y equals to -4. How often is Y equals to -4? 2 times. So how many x's should we have? 2 times. Here's when y equals to -4, these two circles, okay? So for what values? What can we write? When x is pi and when x is 3 pi, okay? So this is when we don't use interval notation. We just kind of list them out individually because it's not a continuous piece. It's just one dot and another dot. Okay. All right. Take a deep breath. How do that? Too early, huh? Yeah. 0 period. Okay. Let's do number 2. This is when we're going to start using a graphing calculator. Okay. All right. We might not need to. There we go. Number 2. Consider the function f of x equals to x divided by x plus 1. Question number 1. Is the point 1, 1/2 on the graph of f? Now you're not giving a graph anymore. You're just giving an equation, a function. How do I know to answer this question? Is this point on the graph? But I didn't give you a graph. So what is it talking about? What is it talking about? I didn't give you a graph. What do we do? Just answer the question. Ethan?
Again, 1 for x, you could get 1 half of y.
Yeah, you plug in 1 for x to see if you come out with half. All right, you try it, and then you answer the question. Is that point on the graph? Try it without the calculator first. Okay. So a question like this will be on the non-calc part of your quiz or exam. Once you have an answer, can you compare it with your team? Yes or no? Is it on the graph? Okay, let's check it. I'm going to plug in 1 to see what I get. F of 1 equals 1 divided by 1 plus 1 equals 1 over 2. Yay! It's a yes. Okay? Out on rainbow. All right, if x equals 2, what is f of x? What am I doing here? I'm plugging in 2 for? All right, go for it. Plug in 2 for x. Okay, on A, please do show your work, okay? Because when you're doing your homework, you have no idea how to answer homework if you don't have things written down on your notes. So it says, what is f of x? So make sure you Sophie B, what did you end up with? 2 over 3. All right, let me see. 2 divided by 2 plus 1 equals 2 over 3. So it says f of x is, so f of 2 equals 2/3. Very good. Box that up because that's 1/2 of the question. The other half of the question says, what point it's on the graph of f? What is it looking for? Put it together as a point, right? Okay, so Emma S. How do I write it together as a point? What goes first, what goes second, Emma S? Beautiful. Nice job. Okay. Okay. Now, look at C. If f of x is 2, what is x? What am I looking for now? What am I looking now? X, right? What do I do with, how do I solve? I plug in what? Yeah, 2 for y. So here we go. 2 equals x over x plus 1. How do you look for x? How do you solve for x? How do you solve for x? What do you remember? Luke?
You multiply 2 by x plus 1.
Okay, first, can I make this into a fraction like that? Will that be okay? Luke's right. What besides Luke? Someone say it in a different way. What do you do? Say that one more time. You can cross multiply, and Luke said the same thing, just differently, which is great. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to cross multiply. That means I have 2 times the quantity of x plus 1 equals to x. I would like for you to solve for x and answer what point on the graph of f as well. Okay, so you and your partner work it out. Solve for x. Please share your answers. I'm just going to call on you. Allison, what did you end up for x, dear? -2. Allison has -2. Is that right? Okay, let's see it. Do you guys distribute first? So this is 2x plus 2 equals x. Can I move the x to one side? Okay, so move this 2x over. Move this 2x over. Okay, that means I now have positive 2 equals -x. Divide both sides by -1. So x is, I shouldn't have to write anymore. Allison already wrote that. Okay. That's first half of the question. Second half of the question, be very careful, answer this question. What point is on the graph of f? What point is on the graph of f? How do you write that answer? What goes first? Yeah, the x goes first, -2. Y is 2, okay? Very good. Now, what is the domain of f? We have been doing a lot of domain questions. So this is not new. So what's the domain of this function? The domain is all reals if it doesn't have what two things? If it doesn't have what two things? The domain is always all reals if it doesn't have what two cases? You've been practicing, Dahlia? Right, if it doesn't have a denominator and it doesn't have a square root. So is this all real? No, because it has a denominator. Now what do you do to find what to exclude? Some of you can know it right away. But if you don't, what do? Take your denominator and set equal to 0. Okay. If you know it already, you can just write the domain. You solve for x. X comes out to be -1. What do I do with that value? We write all real numbers. That's it? Box it up? No. All real numbers not including -1. Okay. All right. List the x-intercepts, if any. X-intercept is when y is 0. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to take y. I'm going to put it equal to 0. All right. Now, just like earlier, how do we solve for x? We cross multiply. Very good. I'm going to make this into a fraction. Whoa, snap, guys. What happens when you cross multiply and y is 0? What's gone altogether? What's gone? The denominator is completely gone. So, because 0 times anything is 0, isn't it? So, what's only left? The top, right? X equals to 0. So, x-intercept is at 0, 0. So that's really the rule of thumb. If you have a fraction, x-intercept is always just the what? Just the what? The top. The bottom is always going to be gone if you're looking for the x-intercept. So you don't ever have to cross multiply anymore. You can just take the numerator and set it equals to 0 to find the x-intercept. Okay. Last one of the day. Okay. List the y-intercept, if any. Y-intercept is when x is 0. So y equals, oh my, 0 divided by 0 plus 1, which is 0. So y-intercept happens to be the same location as the x-intercept. And I'm going to stop right here.
Do you have a book?
Alright, I can make one. I know how to Bye, guys. Thanks, Harry. I love you already. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow. If you want to transfer.
Is it okay if we highlight answers, or do we have to box it?
No, highlights. I will take highlight.
Rather highlight.
Yep, I totally will take that. Thanks.